Craig Cobb here from Trade with Precision. I'm going to go through and have a look at the outlook across a number of different markets for the next 2 weeks or so, taking into account some of the major events that are coming up. Looking at the monthly and the weekly charts here. First thing I want to do is go and have a look at the economic calendar. So I'm just going to pull that up now. And what I'm going to do is just jump ahead because I know that there is one major news announcement coming up, and that is next week. So, of course, non-farm payrolls being the first Friday of the new calendar month, and it has 3 stars, or 3 red dots, I should say. And if we come down here, you can actually see the unemployment is coming in across many different regions, but then the US non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate, trade deficit. So obviously those are the biggest bits of news coming out over the next couple of week period. It will be in just over a week that we'll be having that, so it falls right smack bang in the middle of that 2 week window that I'm going to be having a look at. So just need to be very aware of that major news announcement. Of course, given that the dollar has had quite a run to the downside, it has been quite hit over the last few weeks, and there's been much written and talked about and posted about on that particular topic. It will be a very interesting time when that NFP data comes out to see what actually comes out, to see how the markets react to that. And I can see that being the potential for whether it comes out higher or lower than expectations. I can see it having a lot of potential for a lot of volatility and a lot of movement in the market. So that is in a week or so, next Friday. So we know that that's going to be there. Coming back to the charts, it still gives us plenty of time leading up to non-farm payroll and, of course, trading after non-farm payroll. So what is looking good out there for the next couple of weeks? Obviously, given that we do know NFP may throw a spanner in the works. Well, the first thing I want to have a look at, I'll come back to the German DAX actually. I want to start with my foreign exchange pairs since they are up on my watch list. And dollar CAD is one of the ones I want to go through, as is Aussie Kiwi. Actually, there's quite a few of them. So let me just start with Aussie Kiwi since it is on my list right there. Aussie Kiwi. Look, I want to blow this up and sort of take you through this in a little bit more detail. Couple of things with Aussie Kiwi. I'll just get my support and resistance line here. There's the elephant in the room, which is this parity level. Okay, now you can also see the level that we've broken through now. So there's a couple of levels to keep an eye on. Have a look at his. This support running through here, support, 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 and you can actually see that we've broken up into that level, broken down through that level, retested it. Now we are looking below it. Candles in the sell zone here, and of course the month is going to be ending very shortly, so it does look very likely that this particular candle will close bearish and in that sell zone, and also lower high, and here's our lower low. It is officially in a downtrend. So that begs the question, will we make parity? Based on the trend and based on the way it's looking here in the monthly, I'd suggest there's a fairly good case to be built for that, moving down towards that level. Same can be said here on the weekly. We see this picture starting to unfold, a lower high. The real push for me, the real confirmation that we'll get to parity is if we can break down through these lows. We've still got a couple of hundred ticks to get there, but if we can get there, I do believe that will really trigger some strong selling. Micro, we've got a lower high. Here's our higher low, lower high, lower low. So we are in a micro downtrend there on the weekly, but the breakdown of this level will really say to me that we'll likely hit parity. But some good opportunities there potentially to the downside over the next couple of weeks. The next one I'm going to have a look for is dollar CAD. That was the one I wanted to go for. Here we go. Dollar CAD. Oh, I don't know why it's jumped to 5 minutes. I'll just go back to the monthly. So dollar CAD on the monthly. Let me just have a look right here for you. Okay, so blow that up nice and big. You can see it's a really nice trend. It's pulled back into this 1.3 region. It's pulled back in. It's holding. It's holding. It's holding. It's when I look at the weekly that the picture starts to unfold a little bit nicer. You can see there's definitely resistance. As a matter of fact, I'll just move that a little bit higher up. There's resistance running through here, and what we have is a sequence. Okay, here's our in this when it was moving lower. Here's our low. Here's our high. Higher low. Higher high. It's technically in an uptrend. It's certainly not a very attractive one for me to trade. Micro was an uptrend. We've pulled back down, but the fact of the matter is, and this is the thing I'm looking at, is here's a low, higher low here. Could this potentially be a higher low here? Well, time will tell, but it is starting to manifest that we may see this continue to consolidate towards these highs. The monthly is in an uptrend. The weekly is consolidating with higher lows. And it does look like if we can push back up into this region over the next couple of weeks, that if we see a breakout of that, some great trading opportunities may occur there on dollar CAD, which has in the past, when it moves, it has been moving very, very well indeed. On to Kiwi against the dollar. Again, of course, there's been US dollar CAD now onto Kiwi dollar. It is also a dollar backed currency, so therefore non-farm payroll will likely affect it quite substantially when it comes out in a week or so. Starting first of all at the monthly time frame here on the Kiwi. It has had a turnaround. We can see here that we were in a downtrend. Now we've got this higher low, higher high, higher low, retesting the old resistance, pushing on to a higher high. It is a strong, strong looking market right now, and I do like that on the higher time frames. What I do need to be aware of is that there is some resistance coming up, and this is what I want to point out. Resistance through here, support through here. Okay, it is a significant level. It does need to be taken into consideration, and we've got about 150 ticks or so until we get there. That's on our monthly chart. So monthly looking really strong indeed. Down to the weekly, here's that level I drew in, the resistance coming up. You can see we've got a bit of a consolidation starting to form here. Now what I'm suggesting is that if we are to break out through there, it's probably highly likely we will come to this resistance. What it does show to me, or what it provides me with looking at these higher time frames right now, is that if we can get above these old highs through here, then I do have a window of, say, 150, 140, 150 ticks of profit if I can find a position. Sorry, if I can find a trade to position myself into that resistance. Now, not to say it won't break through that resistance. It is a potential outcome that it will just push through and won't even blink at that resistance. But as a trader, I need to look at what is in front of me. I need to be able to take the information on board that's being presented to me and make my decisions accordingly around that. So it does have a ceiling, but it does have a great trend, and it is one that I'll be keeping a very close eye on for the next couple of weeks, looking for opportunities there. I'm going to jump in and look for one. It was Aussie Yen. Had something I wanted to point out. There it is there. Okay. Just throw that up on the monthly. Okay, so Aussie Yen on the monthly, as you can see, we do have a strong downtrend. Move away, pull back in, move away, pull back in, move away. It's consistent. Well, another bit of support this time coming up is down around these low levels here, this 72.30 region, and it's very obvious to see support, support, support. Once again tested most recently, but it hasn't turned and become strong at this point. If we look here at the weekly, there's no signs here of any strength on Aussie Yen. Now, sure, it's not falling like it was. Remember, we've had some big, quite large events that have influenced this currency over the last little while, but it certainly has pulled back up into this region, and it is acting quite nicely. It hasn't got a huge amount of momentum since it pulled back into the sell zone last time. A nice bit of momentum the following week here, but then it's been sort of fluffing around a little bit. Pulled back in again, broke down. We are driving to new lows. We are just pushing very quietly, very softly, very gently. It's one that I'm keeping a very close eye on for a drive back to 72.30, but I really do want to see some momentum come in there back in on the weekly. I want to see these lows, the low of this weekly candle taken out, set some new lows, and then get some drives to the downside. The good news is there is a good 400 or so ticks down to that support level, and often these really strong levels of support, especially when there is a trend with momentum towards them, often, I'm not saying always, but often they can work. It's kind of like how a magnet works to steel. It will pull it down towards that region. Okay, now what it does when it gets down towards that region, that is anyone's business. It'll either bounce, break, or consolidate, in which case I'm not interested. I want to just make sure that if it does start to pick up this momentum, that I'm trading back down towards that support level. Kiwi CAD is another one I want to point out while we're here. Where is that? I might have to do a search or pull the library up for that one, I think. Okay, NZD, CAD. Oops. NZD, CAD. Okay, link that chart to that. Okay, the Kiwi CAD, jump up to the monthly once again, and here's what I'm looking at on the monthly. This is kind of, it is a much longer term play. It may not happen in the next couple of weeks. It may take a little bit longer, but it may happen. You can see, look, it's not at a perfect level of resistance because there's bit higher here, high, bit lower here, but there is definitely resistance there. Okay, we do have resistance here on Kiwi CAD. We have this high low, and if we break up through that, it will look very significant on this chart, much the same